My voice echoed a lot louder than I was expecting. It actually surprised me, considering the wet dirt walls. I didn't think sound would travel that far.
怖いよ。他にお兄ちゃんの友達とか誰かいれば。臭い。手洗いたいな。
I began walking through the hall once again, this time a bit slower, more unevenly due to exhaustion. Okay. Yuka. Yuka, please. Death room. Sounds so metal. It's the death room. Death. Alright. There's a room where everything went to die. Rip Ch6 5A. Rip Ch6 Sweet 5DD. Oh, what the hell? Oh man, Mako too? They're killing everybody out here. These messed up, man. Oh, Sakura? No! They're killing everybody out here.
誰か来たらあそこに隠れればいいかな。でも本当に誰か入ってきたら怖いな。
The door to this room suddenly slammed shut, and inside of it was missing its doorknob, rendering it unopenable. It seems I've been locked. Ah!
どうしよう。何か取っ手の代わりになるようなものがあれば。
There's a fairly large stone sitting on the heavy wooden table. Take it? Take the stone.
これで思いっきりドアを叩けば開くかな。よし。ダメだ。大きな音を出したから気づかれちゃったかも。早く出る方法を見つけなきゃ。
I quietly and gently returned the stone to its original spot. Yeah.
なんだろう。意識が苦しい。苦しいよ。
I couldn't move any part of my body. I just fallen completely limp, and my vision has gone black. It felt like I was being swallowed up by the... Oh, am I at 100? No! I succumbed to darkening. Okay. At least I know I will not go into that room called the death room. I wonder where... I saved really recently, so I'm good. Fucking A. Okay, so I can just go to the girls' room. Okay. Wood. Take it. No, I just gotta... Okay, so... We're not going to the death room, but we'll go to the body pool. We'll go over here, actually. Okay, I'm still at 70. Kuroshi. Ooh. Oh, Koi. I mean, it sounds a little more. It sounds a little better than the death room. Just saying. It seems like it's a pool of just bodies, or just a pool where you get bodied. Who knows? I like to keep an open mind. Whoa, what the heck is that? Michi. Whoa, 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 whoa. I think I can open this. Slowly and hesitantly, I put both hands on the doorknob and started to turn. I guess I can go in. Alright, let's see what's in here. I hope it connects to an exit somewhere. As soon as the door opened, even a crack, powerful, horrible stench slammed into my face and twisted around my nasal cavities like a jet of water. I was instantly feeling nauseous and lightheaded, as if I were suddenly deprived of oxygen. 78? That sounded like water. Is there water in here? Holding my nose, I stepped back into the room and crept over the source towards the source of the noise. If there was water here, maybe I could wash my hands, I thought. You don't. My extreme thirst came back full force as well. Clean water was the greatest thing I could possibly find right now. I had actually kicked over a bucket, spilling its contents onto the ground in front of me. Yeah, it definitely wasn't clean water. Countless flies immediately flew out of the overturned bucket and began swarming all around me. Their buzzing wings sounded right against my ears, as if they were attacking me. I let go of my nose and began flailing my arms wildly, attempting in vain to drive him away. As I haphazardly stumbled forward, I found my foot splashing in shallow liquid. Mere moments later, my hand came in contact with a wall and brushed against a switch. I heard a faint clicking sound. Then the lights blinked on, and I got a clear look at the room I was standing in. Okay, your darkening's still cool. I have to check that. A large portion of the floor had been dug into something resembling a pool, which was filled with stagnant, discolored water and dismembered bodies. The bodies were decomposing a lot faster than they naturally would. On account of the wetness, most of them had swarms of maggots instead of faces. Several bodies had actually washed up on the ground inside the pool as well. Those few that still had limbs looked like they may lose them at any moment. Their torsos were all swollen and black, and everything else was bone white. The closest body was spurting a sappy mucus from its nose and mouth, and staring at me with an ugly, mean expression. The thick fluid coming out of it was reddish-brown in color and seemed to be a disgusting mixture of blood and dead bugs. Some sort of huge door high up on top the wall opened up, and I could clearly feel a breeze thrown through the room. It was a trash chute? I was afraid of what might be coming through that hole, so I put some distance between it and myself. Something heavy fell from above and splashed into the pool, spraying my face with rotten, stagnant water. The body had just fallen into the pool was wearing a school uniform. As soon as it touched the liquid, it began bubbling and melting into it as it were a bag of ingredients tossed into a stew pot. One of the poor victim's lungs floated to the surface, giving the whole scene even more of a sick, soup-like appearance. I dragged my wet foot on the dry part of the ground for a second or two, and made a dash for the door. As soon as I was back out in the hall, I fell to my knees in shock. I couldn't even move. The smell of death and decay was still sticking to me, and it was still trying to snake its way onto my nose. It was all I could do not to throw up on the spot. I hadn't eaten anything for hours, so I'm not even sure what it would actually thrown up, but I still felt like I had to, more strongly than ever before. Maybe it would have been best just to let it come out. I'm sure I would have felt better afterward. But I honestly didn't want to see my own vomit right now, not after all the other disgusting things I've seen. I had enough. At times like this especially, I really long for my big brother. If only he was here with me. I cried out for him as if in prayer. Don't get baited, Yuka. Dip. Dip. Now. Dip. There's a little girl here with arm outstretched, begging for help. I rushed over to her side. Yuka, dip! Hold up. Hold up. There's no option. I'm just saying, hold up. She was faintly glowing. Glowing. Oh my god. Oh, dip. Dip right now. All I could do for her was offer physical comfort. If I rubbed her back, maybe she'd feel better. Oh. The girl grimaced again, if she were experiencing some new pain all of a sudden. I gently brushed my hand against the little girl's face, wiping away her tears. I only just met her, but I already really felt for her. She had it a lot worse than I did. No, you have to dip.
幸子。幸子ちゃんっていうのね。うん。私はゆかだよ。持田ゆか。ゆかお姉ちゃん。お姉ちゃん
Dip,
お姉ちゃん
dip,
か。
dip, 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 dip. Please dip.
なんかお姉ちゃんって呼ばれると照れちゃうなって。
Oh my god. I pulled Sachiko's tiny little hand in my own and pulled her to her feet.
よし、立てるね。
Sachiko's hand was so thin and light compared to my own. Not just light, it almost felt like it was completely weightless.
やっぱり幽霊なんだ。
Sachiko has noticed me staring at her. I must have had quite a look on my face. This seemed to bother her, so I did my best to force a smaller... Oh my god. Please dip, Yuka. I'm sure she was worried I leave her all by herself again, and I wanted to make sure she knew I was here for her.
どうしたのお姉ちゃん。
Dip.
ちょっと考
Now.
え事してて。
Oh my god, this is killing me.
ごめんなさい。
This is like slowly killing me right now. Sachiko lowered her head and looked like she was about to cry.
どうして謝るの。
Oh my god. Yuka.
幸子。多分幽霊だから。お姉ちゃんと違うから。
Get out of
怖
here.
がらせちゃって。ごめんなさい。
Get out of here. Yuka,
よかった。
take it.
こんな小さい子を不安に
Yo,
させる
take it and just leave. I took Sachiko's hand in both of mine, turning her face and ducking down a little so our eyes were level.
大丈夫だよ。
I can't look anymore.
なんだかあなたは怖くない気がするの。怖くない。
Ah,
本当に。
Yuka, no.
幸子ちゃんは大丈夫。
Yuka, no.
お姉ちゃん行っちゃうの。
No, no. I did have time to think for a moment, since I know I couldn't take a ghost with me very far. And in the end, I also knew I couldn't just leave her.
幸子ちゃんも一緒にゆかのお兄ちゃんを探してくれる？お兄ちゃん？うん、すっごく頼りになるの。きっと幸子ちゃんにも優しくしてくれるよ。
You fucking idiot. Her head was still down, but her eyes were peeking up at me. She looked nervous, but for the first time since we started talking, she also looked hopeful.
幸子も一緒に行っていいの？
Oh my god, dip.
もう一人じゃないよ。
Dip,
ゆかが
dip, dip,
お姉ちゃんがそばにいるからね。
dip. Please dip. Please. I cannot look anymore. Honestly, I was lonely too. I probably wanted someone with me just as badly as she wanted someone with her. Ghost or no.
さあ行こう、幸子ちゃん。
I turned to head back down the hall, but stopped by Sachiko tugging on my uniform. She was wearing a small smile on her face, but still looked uneasy.
お姉ちゃん、私の言う
That's what I said! Dip!
言うことって？
What was she gonna tell me to do? I was so surprised by the question. I wasn't sure how best to respond, but the longer I thought about it, the more uneasy she looked, so...
えっと、
Oh my
お姉ちゃん
god.
ね、あなた
Yuka.
のお話なら聞くよ。本当？だから
Ah,
何でも話してね。
not now.
うん。
There was clearly something specific she had in mind, but I wasn't going to push her about it. She asked me when she was ready. She seemed satisfied with my answer and let go of my uniform, and though, hand in hand, we continued down the hall in search of my big brother. Oh my god, this is... No! Stop it, game. Stop it. Stop it. Game. Hugo. So I guess it's time to go to the storehouse? Please be... Okay, I'm at 80 darkening. That's pretty high. Wait, since oh, do you miss your big brother? Okay. There's no way out. I have to go. I have to go to the room of death. No.
幸子ちゃん、ゆかの他には誰も見なかった？
That's all she said, and then silently she squatted on the ground and wrapped her arms around her knees.
どうしたの？どこか痛いの？姉ちゃん、寒いよ。寒い？
She nodded firmly, almost exaggeratedly.
そっか。幽霊でも痛みを感じるなら、きっと寒さも感じるよね。
Oh my god, fucking As if to show me just how cold she was, she then started visibly shivering.
ねえ、幸子ちゃん、何かゆかにできることない？何か。そう、幸子ちゃんがこれ以上辛くならないように何でも言って。じゃあ、お姉ちゃんのそれちょうだい。
She was pointing at my feet. It was the first time I noticed that Sachiko was walking around barefoot. I was so busy worrying about myself than about finding my big brother that I completely failed to pay any attention to poor Sachiko's appearance. Oh my god. Sachiko shook her head. No, you're good. You're good. If I were Big Brother, I would have noticed the way and given her my shoes. But it wasn't too late. I took off my shoes and socks and offered them to Sachiko. They were a little wet, but still better than walking on these cold dirt floors and burnt. I didn't really like the idea of doing that myself, but just one look at this poor lost soul's shaking form convinced me I was doing the right thing. Oh my god, Sachiko. Sachiko just took the socks, leaving the shoes in my hand.
Sachiko-chan, 靴下だけでいいの？上履きは？うん。だってお姉ちゃんが裸足になっちゃうでしょ？
She flashed a gentle smile at me, which stayed on her face the whole time she slowly put on both my socks.
ゆかお姉ちゃんに怪我してほしくないから。そっか、優しいんだね。
I patted her head, just like Big Brother always did to me. Dude, Yuka, this is not what you want to do. Her smile had grown, and now stretched from cheek to cheek, and I began to feel like I would do anything to keep her happy. I wonder if this is how Big Brother felt when I smiled at him like that. No, despite the severity in the situation, I was in high spirits. I almost forgot just how horrible this place really was. Oh my god. I thought that was a giggle, but it sounded different, somehow like her voice has changed to someone else, or someone else was here.
のせいかな。
What is it they usually say in movies? It must have been the wind. Not too likely in a stagnant underground bunker like this, but still.
きっと怖がりすぎなのかも。もっとしっかりしなくちゃ。お姉ちゃんなんだから。
I put on the bravest face I could manage and marched back out into the hall, pausing only to make sure Sachiko was still behind me. Oh, where else do I go? We went to the death room. We went to... I guess we'll go back to the storehouse, right? There's nothing else. I mean, I guess we can go to the boys' room. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go to the girls' room then. Okay, locked off. Yo, what the?
お姉ちゃん、何？どうしたの？足が痛いの。足？
Oh. The soles of Sachiko's feet seemed to be bothering her quite a bit. As we stood there, I noticed she was fidgeting in place, trying not to stand on them.
そうだよね。幸子ちゃん、靴下だけだもんね。
She said nothing else, she just stared at my feet. She seemed to want my shoes now. I didn't want to say anything since I offered them earlier, and she turned them down. So I just smiled and decided I'd offer them again.
私の上履き履く？いいの？うん。幸子ちゃん、また怪我しちゃうもんね。お姉ちゃんは？ゆかはお姉ちゃんだから大丈夫だよ。
I wouldn't accept any objections, so I just took off my shoes and handed them to Sachiko without another word. Cheerfully, she slipped them on over my socks. They were just a little big on her, but I knew she'd feel better just having them.
ありがとう。嬉しい。じゃあ、行こっか。
Sachiko wasn't used to such big, floppy shoes. She took one step and stumbled forward.
大丈夫？手つないでてあげるよ。うん。ゆかお姉ちゃん大好き。
Oh my god, she's about to bait you so hard, Yuka. Just go.
幸子ちゃん、ここは何もなかったから引き返そう。そう。 このまま進んでていいのかな。こっちがいい。
Sachiko was pointing down the hall, towards the spot where the earthquake has dropped me.
こっち？こっちに何かあるの？わかんない。けどこっち。何の音だろう。あそこに入りたい。あそこ？でもあそこは鍵が。今開いた音がしたの。何かあるの？お願い。入りたいの。そっか。じゃあそっちに行こうか。
Sachiko nodded firmly, then practically dragged me by the hand to the door near my entry point in this underground maze. Oh no. We're finally going to the storehouse. Ah!
なんかここ広いね。
energetic as should be, Sachiko pulled me farther into the darkened room.
待って幸子ちゃん。痛い。
Wow, glass. I suddenly felt a sharp pain in the sole of my foot and looked down to see what I stepped in. Nail. The floor here was actually kind of a mess. It was bumpy and uneven, and there was all kinds of tiny, sharp-looking objects scattered around. Not just old rusty nails, but bits of glass, board with jagged edges, and splinters all over them, and plenty else I couldn't even identify.
血が出ちゃった。かわいい。幸子ちゃん。
That's
ど
why.
うしたのお姉ちゃん。
Oh.
あれそっちにいたの。何だったんだろう今の声。
Come on. I shouldn't have this many save spots, but I'm scared. Set up bleach.
そうだ幸子ちゃんは今いくつなのかな。
This many.
そう何歳かな。小学生だよね。わかんない。思い出せないの。そっか。ごめんなさい。
Sachiko just stood there, with her head hung low and looked with disdain on her face. She didn't say another word. It seemed safe to assume that she probably didn't have any memories of when she was alive at all.
ごめんね。気にしないでね。ごめんなさい。
Looking a bit closer at the pile, Sumini. Ah, rip Yukari. Man. Rip every single person. What's over here? Just a bunch of junk. Desk.
これ何？これポラロイドカメラ？
Sachiko bent down and lifted the camera gingerly as if it were some kind of rare treasure. Then she pointed at me and pressed the shutter button. Oh, it still works.
眩しい。びっくりした。まだ使えるんだね。持って行ってもいい？いいけど重いよ。大丈夫。
Daijoubu. It's a desk. Yeah, we got the desk. What's over here? We got the body. No. Okay, the only thing else is a stack of folded up Japanese style futons.
お姉ちゃん。幸子疲れちゃった。
I guess
この布団使えたら一休みしようか。
I guess you can rest on them. Carefully tiptoeing across the litter-strewn floor, nursing my sore and bloody foot the whole while, I snaked my way over to the futons. I didn't much like the idea of sleeping in the same room as a dead child, but I had to admit I was pretty exhausted too.
ちょっと湿っててカビ臭いけど敷いたら横になれるよ。眠い。よしじゃあ今敷くからね。
As soon as the futon was on the ground as flat as it would go, Sachiko sprawled out on it. It wasn't long before her eyes started drooping.
わーいお布団だ。
Just seeing this innocent little girl joyously sprinting out to take a nap was enough to lift my spirits and renew my hope.
幸子ちゃんがいてくれてよかった。ありがとうお姉ちゃん。
Oh my god.
こちらこそだよ幸子ちゃん。
Oh my god, you could just dip.
今ここにあなたがいてくれた
Just
から。
dip, please. Just dip. Oh, just dip. Yuka, this is your chance. This really must have been tired. She was out like a light the second her head touched the bedding.
かわいいな。
Oh my god.
ずっと歩いてたし。
Yeah, you had the duck.
お家だといいな。
You had the duck Kisame. I woke myself to find myself being shaken. Sachiko was trying to get me up, and her expression is gone, white as a sheet.
お姉ちゃん、お姉ちゃん。何？
She was on the verge of tears. Something seemed to have really spooked her. Did that huge man find us? Was she attacked?
どうしたの？落ち着いて話して。髪留めなくしちゃったの。
Oh no.
髪留め？起きたらなかったの。なんだ、そんなことか。あ、ごめんね。もっと怖いことかと。どこに落としたの？すぐ探せばあるよ、きっと。
The two of us searched every last inch of the room, me with a wounded foot, but we came up empty-handed.
幸子ちゃん、お姉ちゃんはどうすればいいかな。
The entire time we searched, Sachiko hadn't said a word. I was hoping invoking her sisterly bond might cheer her up.
髪が目に入って痛い。その髪飾り、ちょうだい。
She raised right hand slowly and pointed to my headband.
これは、ごめんね。これはあげられないの。
As soon as I refused, Sachiko let out a faint, otherworldly groan. Oh my god, it's time. In the next moment, her face distorted and changed. She no longer looked like the innocent little girl. She looked well and truly like a demon now.
幸子ちゃん。よこせ。
Dip. Dip.
よこせ。
Dip. Dip. The look in her eyes alone sent chills down my spine. These were the eyes of someone who meant me harm and were perfectly capable of inflicting it.
どうしよう。
Give her the headband? Hell no! Sachiko was continuing to groan under her breath. Fearing what she might be capable, I desperately tried to console her.
幸子ちゃん、聞いて、幸子ちゃん。これはお母さんに買ってもらったばかりの大事なものなの。だから。お母さん。
Somehow or another, that seemed to quell her anger. Her facial expression snapped back into a gentle, kind girl I had been talking to all this time.
そうなの。だからあげられなくて。ごめんね。お母さんからの。
She was oddly receptive to this explanation, and even seemed fascinated by it. Maybe I caused her to remember something about her own mother. She was a little girl after all, so her mom was probably really dear to her in her life.
お母さん。お母さん。
She looked like she was on the verge of tears again. I was beginning to feel,
ごめんね。いいの。
She seemed a bit sad, but she nodded. Maybe she understood that I wouldn't give her my headband, and maybe she was okay with it. Oh, I can't take this anymore. Where else do I go though? Like, real talk. We went into the storeroom. Huh. Oh, there's just some dude in the corner. Alright. Chihiro. Ah, rip Chihiro. You hardly knew you. Where would it be? Okay, we'll go into the death room again. Why not? There's no reason, right? So let's just go. Okay, cool. We don't need to be here. Swag. Let's go to the body pool then. Where would this headband be? She wasn't even looking at me anymore. I must have really upset her. Without a moment's hesitation, Sachiko just opened the door and walked right in. I didn't even have an opportunity to stop her. Yuka. The first thing I noticed when I entered the room was Sachiko's form sprawled out onto the ground at the foot of the body pool. She was twitching a bit and moaning again. The sound sounded more like a moan of pain than of anger.
Sachiko-chan! Sachiko-chan! Sachiko-chan!
I stepped over her and turned around as to put the decaying bodies behind my back and out of sight, then started shaking her. I felt like I absolutely needed to snap her out of whatever this was before something terrible happened. I could feel her tiny, cold hand on my abdomen through this thin cloth of my skirt. She was pushing me backwards with tremendous force. Sawaruna. I lost my balance and almost instantly toppled over. It somehow felt like my fall occurred in slow motion. The walls and ceiling of the room grew more and more distant, but it happened gradually. Then I felt the murky liquid on my back and heard the splash. I was in the pool of bodies. What? Because I'd fallen backwards, it took me far too long to regain my bearings. I was submerged in that horrible, tainted water, close to drowning. I finally broke through the surface, dodging the many dislodged eyeballs that were floating like little peas in chicken soup, each one wrapped in dull, red, bulging veins. I didn't even want to think of what happened. About what was all in the water I swallowed. Unfortunately, much of it was still on my tongue. My mouth was filled with tiny bits and pieces of other human beings. The taste was overpowering. I was gagging and belching so hard it felt like I was going to regurgitate all my internal organs. I tried to scream, but I could barely get any sound past the foul, lumpy stool in my... Oh my god. I said dip, Yuka. Why didn't you listen? I was losing consciousness fast, and I remember silently praying, silently hoping that this was all just a dream. As the world faded around me, I just kept focusing on that one last wish. Please, let me wake up in my bed. I had no other choice. I grabbed Sachiko's outstretched arm and marveled again at her strength as she effortlessly pulled me out of the water. Wait, what the hell? My entire body from head to toe was covered in sticky, goopy chunks of unidentifiable human flesh from countless different people. Slowly, hesitantly, I raised my hand to my head to feel around and determine what this something might be. I wasn't looking forward to the answer. What I felt was a huge clump of matter stuck to my hair, and just touching it lightly caused some of it to stick to my hand as well. It was a massive ball of fingers and toes. The severed digits were also sticky and slimy that they gotten completely wrapped in my hair like rollers. They weren't coming out, is it? I said dip, Yuka. Oh my.
落ち着いてお姉ちゃん。お姉ちゃん。
Dang. I must have passed out. When I came to, lying on the ground, it was Sachiko looking over me.
お姉ちゃん。ごめんなさい。
She was on the verge of tears again. Man! Yuka! How many times? When that...
気のせいだったのかな。
Yuka, how many times? That has to be it. That sweet little girl couldn't possibly be that... Psh, man, you fucked up.
大丈夫だよ。
I didn't care how filthy I was. As long as Sachiko was alright, that's all that mattered. Yes, she was my little sister now, after all. I had to take care of her. I had to look after her. Just give her the kiss on me. Come on. Give her the kiss on me.
お姉ちゃん遅いよ。待って幸子ちゃん。どうしちゃったんだろう。足が重い。
Somehow, Sachiko wound up in the lead. I was following her blindly, struggling to keep up with her blistering pace.
Oh, お姉ちゃん汚い。もっと離れてよ。
I looked down at my uniform. Sure enough, it was soaked through with the blood of those poor victims in the body pool. It smelled really awful.
そうだよね。ごめんね。
I didn't recall saying that, or even trying to say that. It was like my mouth was moving on its own, speaking through someone else's thoughts.
お姉ちゃんってほんとのろまだよね。ほんとだね。
If this was how she was going to treat me, then why was I being so nice to her? Why was I doing whatever she asked of me? It was bothering me, yet I wasn't. I honestly didn't care anymore. I was content just to follow this abusive little girl to the ends of the earth. How long have I been walking? I wondered.
幸子ちゃん、まだ歩くの？
I was following Sachiko's despite myself. I had no idea how much time had passed. It felt like an eternity. And she completely stopped answering any of my questions.
もういいや。
She came to a halt.
どうしたの？幸子ちゃん。
She turned and looked up at me with wide, innocent eyes.
幸子ね、欲しいものがあるの。何？
What was it gonna be this time? I honestly didn't want to know, but the question came out of my mouth anyway, and so did this.
幸子ちゃんになら何でもあげるよ。じゃあ次はね。命を。
Holy sh...
命？
I said. Somehow, some part of me knew this was coming. It was only a matter of time.
それはダメし。
Once again, I couldn't seem to control the words coming out of my mouth. It just said whatever it wanted to say, regardless of how I felt.
私の命あげるの？
She was laughing again. It was a wild, crazy laughter. She was ecstatic.
ダメダメ。どうして？何でもくれるんだよね。お姉ちゃんだもん。ね。
Sachiko's smile almost seemed to twinkle in the dull light of the corridor. She had the face of an angel, but it was all just a mask.
怖い怖い怖い。やだよ。
I mustered all the strength I had, trying to, with whatever life was left in me, to announce her words and resist her pull. There was no hope for me anymore, but I still clung to what I could. If I could just reject her statement and tell her she was wrong.
ダメ。は？ ちゃんを探そう。お兄ちゃんならきっと何とかしてくれるからね。だからお兄ちゃんは。
お兄ちゃん？
そうだよ。私はお兄ちゃんみたいになれないけど頑張るから。
兄ちゃんお兄ちゃんってうるさいんだよ。早くよこせ。殺してやる。殺して首に殺してやる。早く死ね
幸子ちゃん。
My body shook and spasmed uncontrollably. I was being overtaken by an invisible force. It was compelling me to speak, to say what would be my very last words on this earth. A suicide note? When you get right down to it.
しょうがないな。いいよ。私の命。幸子ちゃんに。
What? It was instantaneous. With one single blow, my skull was cracked wide open and blood splattered far and wide. Oh my god. I could feel blood trickling down from my nostrils and my right ear. My brain was jutting out from inside my head, fully exposed to the air. But I was still conscious. I could still feel everything. I saw a bright flash of light and realized she'd just taken my picture with that instant camera which she'd been holding on to. Wow! Game, please.
綺麗な写真が撮れた。
いやしい女。
Ch6 was a cute little girl before, and now her face was twisted into a hateful, spiteful grimace as she looked down at me in contempt.
そうだ。これお兄ちゃんに見せてあげよう。
何でもくれるって言ったでしょ。もう私のお兄ちゃん。
Sachiko began petting my sticky, matted head with her coarse, sticky hands in a mockery of my previous gentleness with her.
汚い顔。
本当はこれを取り上げるのが目的だったんだよね。
My scrap of paper? From the charm?
お姉ちゃんとはまた遊びたいからファクトにはしないであげる。また遊ぼうね、ゆかお姉ちゃん。
That's fucked up, dude. That's messed up. Come on, man. That was hella messed up. Why? Oh man, why? Why? Are you kidding me?
コープスパーティーブックオブシャドウズをお楽しみいただきました。
The fuck, man?
ありがとうございました。そしてこんにちは、持田ゆかです。本当に怖くて、ゆか 何度も何度も押し込む。
Okay, Erie. Or Emmy?
ゆかからクリアしてくれた皆さんにおめでとうプレゼントです。この日のためにいっぱい練習しました。どうか聴いてください。歌です。赤く染まる祈り。あ、お兄ちゃんが呼んでいる。それではありがとうございました。さようなら。
Yuri Kitamura? Alright.